Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Kevin Tomlinson with Draft2Digital, and this is D2D Answers, where we answer questions, some of our most common questions from authors just like you. Now, this episode, we're actually going to talk about pre-orders. We're going to talk about how we set up a pre-order on D2D, and we're going to talk about some of the rules, best practices, that kind of thing. So you're going to get a lot out of this. Stay tuned. We're digging in on pre-orders next. Okay, to get started with pre-orders through Draft2Digital, the very first thing you're going to do is log into your Draft2Digital account. And you probably recognize the screen in front of you. This is the edit book screen. This is where you would upload the details of your book. So here you would upload the actual content of the book. You'll type in the title. If it's part of a series, you'll label that. You put the book's description. This is where you do all the sort of behind-the-scenes mechanical stuff of getting the book ready to be converted and get it ready for distribution. Now, you'll see here that we have a release date. If you click on this question mark, it says this is the select the official publication date for this book. Now, you can actually select a publication date that is in the future. Right now, we've got this set for November 15th, 2018. Right? So that is from the date that I'm recording this. That's well into the future. That's almost a year in the future. And you can choose any date you like, up to a year for some of our vendors. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of this later, but there are vendors that do not accept books a year out, so you're going to want to be aware of that. And some of our sales channels do not accept pre-orders at all. So these are things you're going to want to keep in mind. Only certain sales channels will accept a pre-order a year out. So once you've chosen your date, now let's say we want to back up a little. We can go to let's go to June. We'll set the book to release, and we like Sunday releases, so we'll click on June 10th, 2018, which is in the future for me and may not be in the future for you. But once you've selected that, the book will go live on that date. I'm going to get into some details about a few other things in just a moment. But essentially, once you've got that set up and you go to the publish phase, you can publish the book. You set the price and everything. You publish the book, and it's ready to go. We'll get into whether or not you should upload a placeholder file or a placeholder cover or anything like that in just a moment. And there are some reasons to not do that for some of the sales channels, which you may find surprising. So stick around. We're going to jump into some more details about pre-orders after this. Hey, what do you think of the wardrobe change? That's what time travel can do for you. Now we're going to take a look at more details about pre-orders with Draft2Digital, and specifically we're going to look at pre-order scheduling, both with an asset and without an asset. And don't worry, we're going to get into what that means in just a second. Now, we have several vendors who have their own rules about pre-orders. Some vendors will take pre-orders up to a year in advance. Some will take them only 6 months in advance. And some do not accept pre-orders at all. Now, Apple, Kobo, and Tolino will all take your pre-order up to a year in advance. Barnes & Noble only accepts pre-orders up to 6 months in advance. And we've got a selection of vendors who do not take pre-orders at all. That includes Inkterra, 24 Symbols, Placeholder, Amazon, and Scribd. Those guys will only release your book on the selected release date. Now, in terms of Amazon, if you put your book up and you put a future release date, just like we showed you previously, what you'll get is a product page for that book. And it'll actually tell the user when the book is coming out, what it's going to be priced at, tell the reader rather, and it'll have all the information about your book, but there will be no buy now button or click to buy or pre-order or any of those buttons. So the only way the reader will be able to get that book is if they come back on the day the book releases. So now I think that there is a way for Amazon to alert the reader of this, but it's completely out of our control. We have no way to tell the reader that they can come back and buy the book on that day. So be sure you're planning around this whole thing. If your marketing is sending people to one of our universal book links, for example, it's a little easier to get people to get on board with this idea that they can pre-order on some sites and only buy it on launch day on others. So just put a little thought into that. Make it part of your marketing strategy. One thing that we do want to call out is that none of our sales channels or vendors will accept pre-orders for books that will be free. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a price set for your book. Now you can set the price to there are minimums for some of the vendors, but you can set the price to pretty much whatever you want for launch day. It's typically a good idea to set the price pretty low for pre-orders as an enticement to get people to come in and make the purchase. But if you're planning to make the book free, perma-free, or something along those lines, you won't be able to set up a pre-order. And that kind of makes sense if you really think about it. Next, we're going to talk about making changes. We're going to get a little bit more detail about what I just discussed. We're going to get into making changes to your book prior to the pre-order live date. Okay, so in order to ensure that your release goes smoothly, your final manuscript must be uploaded no later than 10 business days prior to the release. And that's to ensure that every vendor has time to make the changes that you've made, make sure everything's working, flag any potential problems, get everything resolved so that you have the best release possible. Now, there's no exceptions to this rule. Our vendors, they can't meet their release dates, they can't meet their obligations unless you've got the manuscripts finalized and updated at least 10 business days prior to release. If the book can't be released on the release date, all your pre-orders will be canceled, which we don't want and you don't want, but it'll result in final files being required during the initial pre-order setup, and any of your future releases will require that. So basically what that translates to is if you do not manage to get this done, if you don't manage to get the files uploaded 10 business days prior, if something goes wonky, they'll refund all those pre-orders and you won't get that money or those sales. And there's going to be some restrictions and requirements going forward. So you want to take this seriously, and you want to treat it with some professionalism, and I think you're going to be just fine. Now, if there are changes, including changes to the release date, and you can change the release date, these need to be made within 5 business days of release, or they may or may not be applied to your book prior to the release date. Because there's a review process that has to happen there. Your safest bet is to just ignore the whole 5 business day thing, and always make sure that any changes you're going to make are done at least 10 business days prior. Just stick with that. It's the safest, best way, and it's the way to avoid, sort of damaging your chances of doing a pre-order in the future. You can adjust your release dates either forward or backward. However, if the book is a no asset pre-order, moving the release date must allow 10 business days. If you're going to move the date forward, you must allow for the 10 business days so that everything can be finalized and everything can be reviewed. So those 10 business days are pretty important. Now, vendors hold all pre-order sales until the day of release, and then they reflect those sales on release day. So those are release day sales for you, and that could potentially bump up your ranking on release day. Now that's kind of cool, and that's a strategy you may want to consider as you're moving forward. Any promotions you book, anything you got set up to help boost the momentum of the book, you may want to organize all that around that big burst of sales on release day. So that is pre-orders. I hope you got a lot out of this episode of D2D Answers, and thanks so much for sticking around. We'll wrap this up. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you have questions you'd like answered, check out the FAQ at draft2digital.com/FAQ, or you can read up on our knowledge base at draft2digital.com/knowledge base. You can also follow us and talk to us on Twitter at Draft2Digital, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Draft2Digital, and of course, hop over to the Draft2Digital blog at draft2digital.com/blog, where you can get great content that's aimed at helping you build and grow your author business. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Kevin Tumlinson, and this has been your D2D Answers.